This is Lord of Mafka, aka Rogan Azrine, back at you with another video. And in today's video, I want to talk about why society is totally cooked in 2025 and beyond. And I want to shout out Maxtro Gennaro for this video topic. Shouts out to you, man, and the rest of you guys who watch. Without further ado, let's get into today's video topic. Now, with all of the protests that we see going on in the United States right now, with the whole ICE situation, the whole immigration thing that's going on, and with Trump calling in the National Guard and more Marines to really keep the situation intact, we're really starting to see even more of how disunified people are. And really, when you see all these people protesting here, and I'm just using this as an example to why society is just, it's done for, man. Because the only time that these people are really coming together in these protests are just to be seen. It's not for anything revolutionary. They don't want to make a change to the system. They don't want to fight the power. They don't want to enlighten their minds and become better individuals who are more evolved with each other and can actually live on this planet in peace. It's not for that reason. They're coming together all so they can be seen, all so they can feel like they're just right purely out of an empty sense of morality. And when you look and see how people will use any narratives, like even for example with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, or whatever protest that we had going on back then with the whole presidential debate, that campaign, and during the pandemic, if you remember that, right? I mean, it just shows you how people are just so disorganized and how they will never come together. I mean, this is the place that we find ourselves living in today's time, because people are not socially responsible. Like, they don't hold each other accountable for not being courteous enough. People really just take whatever they can from people and they just walk right on with their lives. And when you have a society to where it's a big melting pot of people who have a lot of social issues against each other, and first off, that's the whole reason why protests really can't work at the end of the day, because for one, we haven't addressed the whole just negative and poisonous layers of family units being missing. When you socialize with people on a day-to-day basis, everyone gets so easily offended by what you say. You can't even exhale and inhale, or someone to say, oh, you're doing that too loudly, oh, you're disturbing what I'm doing, why are you trying to impede on my sense of safety, I don't feel comfortable around you. So this is why society is not going to go anywhere, because people have been conditioned to really not like each other. They've been conditioned to be each other's enemies. And this is something that you see going on rapidly in the Western world, man. And don't even get me started on the fact of man and woman relations, because that's down in the dumpster in the Western world. I mean, we're basically like a Japan 2.0 at this point, to where men and women can't even come together, and you have all these conflicting ideologies again with the mixing melting pot, and this time with men and women, such as these gynocentric views, all of these radical views on how men and women should conduct and act with each other. I mean, they're only adding fuel to the social fire that we see going on in America today. And really, things are not going to get better, guys. I mean, this is why I tell you guys, you really have to give up the hope for a better world and better society, because it can't help but dissolve and destroy itself. You know, you had guys like Dostoevsky, philosophers like that, who came before all of us, and they saw right through the mechanics of the humanity's lies. And Dostoevsky was basically getting at all the creations that we have today, such as the technology, such as these apps like, you know, Instagram, Tinder, Bumble, even just the internet itself, is not only helped humanity in a way, but it's actually destroyed humanity in a way socially, to where people don't even go out and interact with each other. Like, most people are meeting up online, if they even have the ability to do that, because we already know certain men in this situation who are isolated and they really feel jaded and they've been mistreated their whole lives aren't really trying to get out here and do anything because they've had their whole life just drained from them. You start making things harder for younger people out here, especially on the man side, to where he's told that he has to do things a certain way to be loved, to be accepted, to be respected. He has to get a high paying job. He has to kiss the ground that everyone walks on. He has to be a stoic monk that is just so unrealistic in this time because the more you suppress in yourself, especially as a man, the more you're suppressing those emotions, the more that that's going to rapidly come out. And it's not only going to possibly hurt you, it could hurt others around you that you possibly do still care about in some way. So this is why I'm very big on men being able to express themselves and vent out their frustrations. And even when we look on the woman's side, a lot of them are not happy with the whole fortunes and pleasures that they have. I mean, even though that they have millions of likes, followers, they get everything at a moment's notice, physical intimacy, etc. And they just get all of these people who act like they just want to be around them and people who would love to talk to them and just be in the same presence as them. They're still not happy. So it just shows you either way. You have on the man side to where he's neglected from everything, barely has anything, and then on the chick side, she has everything at her feet, but she doesn't know how to navigate that and see who's really for her because she's so busy just going through pools of emotions and not even trying to do things rationally in the best way. So this is why society is really caving in on itself, and something like this cannot last. It's not something that can be longevity wise to where you can see the American society, for example, existing 300 years later, 400 years later. I mean, we're going to be most likely called something else, a different name. And it just shows you how societies rise and fall. I mean, look what happened to Rome. They let in all these different mindsets and they started allowing these different cultures all into their foundation of society. And look what happened to Rome. They fell. They started to fall when they started to have a lack of endurance, when they no longer had a structure of real bonds, families, connections, relationships. And when a society loses that, it loses the essence of what actually keeps it from crackling and just basically being destroyed instantly. So the only thing that is really holding the Western society together, for example, is the technology. It is the whole aspect of quick domain of pleasure that you get from scrolling online, whatever content you like to look at, whether erotic, whether it's a mental thing for you to be able to look at for debates, etc. All of these things are really, they're contributing to the downfall of our society because they're not addressing all of the underlying issues. There is no real sensation of healing. There is no new innovation of thought or a change in action. We don't see any of that happening. So this is why I say society is destined to fail when it gets like this. You no longer have families supporting each other. You no longer have the traditional phase to where men and women actually had their actual roles to where they actually knew their spot to where they could fit into. But just without the whole premise of negativity that you see nowadays, especially on the man's part, dude. And it's really brutal for everyone nowadays. And sadly, it's not going to get any better. So the only thing that you can do in this post just civil war that we're possibly going into, especially in the US right now, is just venture out into this world only for you to gain, and at the behest of other people. You really have to get to where you really don't notice them so much. You have to come to where you are just unfazed by everything that goes on around you. And it's not an easy process to go through. It's literally like a, how should I explain? It's like being pulled apart and just being put back together without all of the right metrics and just the blueprints of how your whole body works. That's how it feels every day when you're hurting inside. You have to put yourself back together, and it's not an easy journey, man. So, the best thing that I say that most people can do, especially on the man's part, is worry about setting a foundation up in your life to where you stay away from negativity as much as possible. Keep your emotions, keep your mind very secure, and make sure that every perimeter in your life is untainted from all of the ilk that society and these toxic people have to offer you. So I hope you guys are well out here. Like and subscribe if you're new. Tell me what else you guys want me to elaborate on in the comment section. I highly appreciate it. I went over this video a little fast. I was talking a little sporadically because I'm dealing with all of these issues with work, man, and having to pay all these bills, dude. It feels so grotesque and dehumanizing because we should be able to do more with our lives. I shouldn't have to worry about paying bills 24/7 and going around coworkers who just complain about how someone doesn't dress up that way, how someone showed up late again. That's all I hear on the job nowadays, and almost getting into arguments with people over politics. Like the one guy that I work with who is just so convinced that, oh, if America becomes so patriotic, we'll be back golden again. And I was explaining to him, it's not that simple, man. And it's whatever with that, but we'll get into that in the next video with my experiences with work, etc., and people. But I hope you guys take care. I'll see you guys in the next video, and like I always tell you guys, stay away from the modern woman. Thank you.